Welcome to another edition of Down the Road. We love taking this show on the road. I mean, that's part of what we are, who we are at Beck News, and part of what we love to do. Get out, see people, and make sure we share what's going on in our communities. Don't ever feel bad saying, hey, Joel, you got to get here. There's a real story to tell here as well. Today, we're on the campus of the North Dakota State College of Science. Jane, well, she's kind of hopped into one of those leadership positions. Jane Bagnes-Frisch, she's got her doctorate, so I'm going to call you doctor here and there, whether you like it or not. She's the Vice President for Student Affairs and Strategy. How about Jane?
Yeah.
Jane, good to have you on Down the Road.
Thank you for being here at Ndscs. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, right now the beet farmers might be ripping their hair out a little bit, but you can't complain about rain one day and not the next, right?
Yeah, beggars can't be choosers.
Exactly. Want to talk about the campus a little bit,
Yeah.
and what's going on the campus. Before we get into some of the details of what you're doing in those classrooms, how has the State College of Science stood up to the COVID vaccine? I know masks were required. I wore mine in here. So.
Yeah, so face coverings are required here at Ndscs, and that's something we look at weekly. So we're basing that weekly on our numbers, on what our numbers are, not only as a community, as a college community, college-wide, Richland County, Cass County, but also what the CDC and Richland and Fargo-Cass Public Health are sharing with us.
Yeah.
And our students have been awesome about this, Joel. They keep saying we want to be in person, even with a face covering. We are seeing our students truly take on COVID, vaccinations, testing. We have testing twice a week right here on campus, and students recognize that they need to do that to stay in person.
When I think of the type of student that goes to science, you surprised me. I mean, they're very independent-minded, very hands-on type education, which doesn't always go along with, hey, I'll wear that mask.
And here's the thing, no one likes to wear a mask. I don't like to wear a mask, you don't like to wear a mask, but students know that that's what's going to keep us in person. And that's first and foremost. They want to learn with their hands. A few of our students are still here, and they remember March of 2020 when they weren't able to be with their peers in their classrooms, shops, labs, and they don't want to repeat that.
That's a really good point. Want to talk about the campus as a whole, because you're being watched right now by people all over, quite frankly. Yep. Montana, South Dakota. We have viewers in the southern provinces. I may know a lot about the State College of Science, but this is an opportunity for you to tell them a lot about the State College of Science.
And thanks for this opportunity, Joel, because I think we're sick of being the best kept secret in southeast North Dakota. So about 2,800 students here at Ndscs. We have about 1,700 of those live and learn with us here at the Wahpeton location. We have about 400 at our Fargo location that will learn there. That's a commuter location. We have some exciting things coming up for the Fargo location with our Career Innovation Center. But then we also serve a population that a lot of people don't realize is our high school students, those students that are already engaging with college courses while they're in high school. So about 800 students are almost 900 now are dual credit students. So earning college credit, earning high school credit, getting a springboard, honestly, to their next steps. And a lot of those courses, English, math, but a lot of them also are in our career and technical education courses, the trades, which is workforce. We need our workforce, and really our students are recognizing that. And I think parents are starting to get that now too.
Governor Burgum just came out with a proposal of what he wants to do with those federal dollars that came in to kind of jumpstart the economy. And part of that is to go into places like this. He's talking about over $400 million. And if he's recognizing that, and that I've been coming to this campus a lot recently to try to tell the story of where we can get that next generation of workers we so desperately need. If he recognizes that and you have that story to tell, are we going to be able to connect with those legislators? Are you out there speaking to them? Because they're the ones this special session that are going to make the decision.
President Richmond has done a great job of sharing the Ndscs story with our legislators, and our legislators, especially our local legislators, are so incredibly supportive of our mission, but also our placement rate doesn't lie. 97 to 99 placement for the past however many years. that doesn't lie. Our graduates are in high demand. We are pumping graduates into North Dakota. About 70% of the students that were from North Dakota graduated and stayed in North Dakota. And then last year, 33% of those students that were at Ndscs that weren't from North Dakota stayed. So we're a pipeline, and I hope that the legislators will see that. It's very hard to ignore what's going on with our workforce and ignore how we're an important part of that.
Well, in my days in the legislature, advocating on behalf of this campus and this institution, we used to make the claim, and you couldn't do it all the time, so I'm not trying to put you in a box, Dr. Krish, but what we used to make the claim that out of the 53 counties in North Dakota, there was a student at this facility from every county. That isn't always true, but I'd be willing to bet you're still close to it.
47 this year.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's
is.
a lot. Because you think about it, Ndscs is way down in that southeast corner. And yet 47 counties from North Dakota have sent somebody here.
Talked to a student this morning from Missouri as well. He called me wondering how you could get a COVID shot. Found my number on the website. Talked to him at 7:45 on his way to the welding classroom. And, I said, I always ask students when they're from out of state, what brought you here? You're the best. This is the best welding facility I could find. That's what he said to me on the unsolicited, called me about his COVID shot.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you got to record that and play that on Beck News all the time because that's a good story. In terms of the people that are coming through your door, and I kind of wonder how you weigh that, because so many employers need what you're turning out, and they're going to want access to those students.
Right.
They're going to want to be able to talk to them. How do you gauge that? How do you weigh that? Because you could have somebody in that classroom every day looking for that new employee.
Yeah, our faculty are gatekeepers. Not only are they instructors, they're gatekeepers for, you're right, they want to come in each and every day. How we do that is we help them understand how they can grow their own and help us grow their own through student sponsorships. You're going to hear about that a little bit later. But student sponsorships is really the future in not only directing our students to career and technical education, but also getting those employees that we desperately need.
Okay, so, and that makes sense because they've got to be the gatekeeper. I get it, I understand it, but man, it's got to be happening, which takes me to the North Campus. There were a lot of people who didn't think that the North Campus would succeed, or they wondered why Ndscs was taking that footprint north, and they raised questions about it, like anybody would, in a fair way. Is it succeeding? Is it working?
It is. And, I think it's because of not only the 4 credit, so those students that are wanting to get a certificate, diploma, credential after Ndscs, but it's also because we're supporting business and industry. One of the things that often is ignored about Ndscs's mission is supporting through training and upskilling the current workforce. And so we are providing customized training. We're helping in that facility to bring in different types of business and industry to help their workers get the next step of training to better their business, increase efficiency, all of those things.
Sure. Also, if there's one thing COVID taught everyone, it's that you can work from a different location than what you're used to working from.
For sure. Yeah.
Has that changed? I mean, you're still a hands-on campus. Has that changed in any way here, though? I mean, you can't learn diesel mechanics without being in the diesel shop. I mean, how has that changed this campus?
It's changed it in providing, it hasn't changed in how we deliver, but it's changed in the flexibility in the ways in which we deliver, right? So we know that a student might be out on internship, let's say in the diesel technology program, and they want to participate in Student Senate and be involved here on campus. They now have that flexibility because they can beam in from, honestly, we had a student beam in last year from their service truck and participate in our Student Senate. And so it's allowing flexibility, but it's not a replacement. And I think that's the thing that we have to continue to embrace is how can we be flexible with our students and embrace that technology, but don't lose focus on what makes us Ndscs, and that's that hands-on, truly in the shops and the labs.
Well, again, that goes back to what you said earlier, where you surprised me, which was, they'll mask up. They want to be here because they know how important it is to be hands-on. To be able to keep instructors that the private industry wants. How do you do that? I mean, seriously, if they're looking for diesel mechs, if they're looking for nurses, they're looking for all the things you can provide, they've got to be looking at your staff as well.
It's tough, you know, and that goes back to the legislators and helping us provide that flexibility and compensation. But also it's about finding that person. You don't teach because of the paycheck, and I think we all know that. But you know, finding those individuals that really care about their students, but also care about their profession, that career path, and helping others realize that career path is that's the type of people that we recruit. But it's hard, Joel. It is. I mean, we've had a lot of faculty and staff poached.
Well, and in a way, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It means you got the right faculty, but it also tells you what's going on out there.
Yeah.
What's the future enrollment projections? What are you looking at?
You know, our future enrollment projections are really positive. You know, we were down 1% this year, but our new students, including transfer students, were up. So I think our message, the 2-year full college experience message is getting out there. The way that we're growing our enrollment in the future is through student sponsorships and partnerships with business and industry. No longer can a business or industry partner come in March and hire a student to start in June. That is a thing of the past. And that doesn't matter even if it's a liberal arts student or a business student. Our students are in high demand. So we're now working with business and industry to create those sponsorships, partnerships, to understand that pathway starts in high school.
Yeah, well, that's smart. And getting into the high schools and just being able to talk to them. You know, we always say this is it's a great facility that enough people don't know about, but I think it's getting out there. I do. I think you guys are doing a great job of it. More people are knowing.
Yeah, affordability. I mean, those that want to get a 4-year education, they realize that they can get the full college experience less than half the cost and transfer seamlessly.
And the credits make it.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it.
That's the thing about North Dakota people don't realize is that seamless transfer. We're so lucky.
Dr. Magnus Fish, I always stumble over the first name, but Doc, good to have you coming down the road to this. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Joel.
You bet. When we come back, we're going to talk about a lot of different things: affordability, partnerships, why corporations need to be involved. Also, innovative academic programming. We're going to talk with Lonnie Wurst as well. So stick around. We're going to keep heading down the road. It's great to be here on the campus of the North Dakota State College of Science, and I love the fact that we here at Beck News are doing this. We need to do it more. We need to get out there in the communities that are your homes, and if you have an idea of us coming to showcase, let us know. It's that simple. Let us know and we'll do just that. Lonnie Wurst is my guest now. Lonnie is the Assistant Professor, Program Coordinator. I mean, it's a long title here. You want me to read it all? Autonomous Systems, Technology and Robotics, Automation, and Mechatronics technology. See, you just intimidated the heck out of me.
No intention there, but yeah, essentially.
You did well in school. Can I just say that?
I did decent. I'll say that much. I did all right.
Describe to people what that means.
Okay, so right now, 2 standalone programs. The first one is the Robotics, Automation, Mechatronics Tech program. The focus of that program is industrial automation. So the type of things that you would see in a Ford Chrysler plant, the robots welding the car together, all the automation it takes to make that process run. That's that program. It's been running since 2012. I've been here with the program since 2014. The other program, the Autonomous Systems, this is a brand new program, as in we are starting the first classes of it here next week. Brand new program, and as far as we could tell when we developed this, it's the first program of its type in the United States, where the intent of that program is it's a 1-year certificate with the intention of giving students from multiple industries, multiple programs here on campus, the opportunity to learn the basics of ground-based autonomous systems, all the sensors, all the controls, everything it takes to make that combine, tractor, robot, what have you, be able to drive itself safely wherever it needs to go and do whatever task is asked of it.
Well, okay, so I'm at Big Iron this year, doing my radio show, and Case IH comes out, and they came on my show and they were talking to me about this.
Yes.
And so you go out and you watch the field. It isn't really a trial; it's more of a demonstration.
Yep.
And it's a little bit intimidating. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
You know, growing up around agriculture like I did, I mean, describe to people what can happen.
There's a lot of potential problems that could come along in a system like that, where all these different sensors are, you know, if everything's put together correctly, will talk to from the tractor to the combine, vice versa, and the machine you're talking about specifically is the Omnidrive system. The intent of that is that instead of having, like we normally do now, where one person's driving the combine and somebody else is in the tractor with the tender trailer, the combine operator can control both his combine and the tractor. So when it comes time to unload, call up the tractor will map out a path and follow, come alongside the combine, and when the loading is done, the combine operator can tell the tractor to go back to wherever the truck is at a predetermined location on the field. The whole intent there is because one thing we run into and why automation and all these technologies are becoming very popular is we're simply running out of available bodies in a lot of industries, a lot of people. And so, it's a very, very labor intensive job, a lot of hours. You know, we all understand how the farming is this time of year. But we can take a job that normally takes at least 2 people and cut it down to 1.
I remember when, completely aside, but it made me think of this, you know, when the grain carts started coming out, and some of the older guys were like, you don't need a grain cart. We're not that big a hurry. You stop on the end of the field, you dump it, you put it in the truck, and you get going. And now, those same guys are like, we need 2 grain carts. You know, I mean, automation comes in many different ways, and in your case, it comes through robotics, or you know.
And this is literally every industry out there is being affected by robotics, automation in some shape or form. There's been research that was put out, McKinsey Institute a couple years back talked about how over the next 10, 12 years, half of all career fields are going to have some form of automation built into their daily tasks. It's not going away anytime soon. It's only going to grow. But a lot of reasons why this happens. Manpower is an issue. And just being able to compete in the world markets, we need to get more efficient, be able to put product out more efficiently, faster, cheaper, all these things. And the best option we have available to us is automating.
Yeah, you say that, and I know you're right, and that's where we're going to be. And every year, it's going to get to be more and more.
Yep.
You know, I mean, look at what happened with our cell phones. Look at what happened with our TV systems.
Yep.
You know, there aren't too many people with a dish hanging on their side of their.
Pretty rare.
You know, there's some of that going on. But you know, I just want to say this: that the shortage in the workforce many times is being filled by the people that have already retired. And sometimes some of the technology that you're talking about can be intimidating to the people that have been retired. How easy is it? How much time has to go in before they can understand what you're teaching here?
Like say, or so you're talking about, like say, just operationally, if somebody were to jump in the tractor.
And I'm not trying to get you to speak for a product as much as what I'm trying to get you to speak to our viewers right now about. And this is my bias. Why not to be intimidated by it? Why not to look at a program like this and how valuable it could be at one of their colleges?
Well, what I would say there is that the actual operator interfaces are made very intuitively for ease of use. All the, you know, I guess a good example there would be like just the operation of a cell phone. Something like that Omnidrive system and others and other automation in other industries, what the front end user would see would just be, okay, yes, no, on, off, start, stop. Where my students come in would be on the backside, putting all that technology and components together to do what it needs to,
make sure it's that simple for
make sure it's that simple for the end user.
Okay, well, there's got to be a real place for that.
Oh, the demand is absolutely insane right now. I can speak for we have a running history with the robotics automation program. Historically, we've been averaging anywhere from 12 to 16 job opportunities per student.
So, okay, and that's happening all over. How do you filter that? Because everybody's going to want in your classroom. Everybody's going to say, Lonnie, I need to get in there. I need to talk to these students and explain to them why they need to come work for me. How do you stop that?
I'm very open about any company that wants to come in, is interested, wants to talk to students. I'm very open about saying, absolutely, come on in, talk to students, take a look at what we do here. But it is with the caveat, or do give them the warning that, like has been mentioned before, the days of coming in March of a second year for a student and asking them to apply or come work for them, those days are long past gone. The best way that you can guarantee that you're going to have someone to come to your work into the workforce for you is going to be sponsorship on the front end, helping feed the pipeline from the high schools into a program like this. Otherwise, it's very, very slim pickings for students that are not spoken
They already
for.
know.
Yeah, it's already
Okay, so there isn't one of your students that doesn't want a new fishing boat the first year out of your classroom, right?
Right.
Okay, so do these jobs pay enough to do that?
Oh, they pay a very good, comfortable living wage. My historical average for, say, the robotics program has been low to mid 20s per hour, so about $45,000 a year starting. Now that number can change depending on what part of the country, the region or country you go to, or what specific niche in our field is taken, and that's one thing. A lot of people don't realize there's so many different niches inside of this field, so many entirely different industries where a person could go into, that it's impossible to get pigeonholed into one task, and that's all you're going to do for your entire career.
Okay. Are the students ready by the time they get to you? Is this happening at the K-12 level?
I've seen over the last few years the students actually are prepared pretty well.
Okay.
A lot of just kind of anecdotal, but about anywhere from a third to a half of my actual normal student body per year has participated in high school robotics in some shape or form. BEST, FIRST, VEX, any of those, which is awesome because the project-based learning that VEX and those types of programs do is absolutely the same process we're going to do either in the classroom or in your career, whether it's doing day-to-day operations for a maintenance facility or building new projects for other customers.
See, that to me is the best thing to hear.
Yep.
Because that time between the senior in high school to the freshman, because I don't want to see a high dropout rate.
Right.
I don't want to see that. And if they're ready by the time they get to you and they know what they want to do and the world needs them, then it's perfect.
Yep.
That's a perfect system. Lonnie, you're the guy nobody wanted to be around, or else looking over their shoulder. You were the guy that could run the racetrack better than anybody.
I'd not try to be intimidating, but we do the best we can.
Yeah, I bet you could.
Yeah.
I could see it back in the old days. So, Lonnie, thanks for coming.
Thanks.
I appreciate it. When we come back, Eric Johnson's going to join us, and I think we'll have a student with as well. We're going to talk about trap shooting. I'm not kidding. We're going to talk about trap shooting. It's going to be fun. Stick around. We're going to continue to go down the road. We're focused today on the North Dakota State College of Science, and we're pretty proud of the fact that we've taken Beck News down the road right here to the campus. I get a chance now to visit with, someone that's been my friend for a long time and someone that I want to be my friend for a long time. Kim Nelson is the executive director of the Ndscs Alumni Foundation, which means that you want to see Kim when it's cold outside. So her hands are in her own pocket. That's a compliment, Kim. Also, Bethany Mauk is the sponsorship coordinator when it comes to making sure students have the means, the ability, and the finances to come to Ndscs. Kim, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Thank you, Joel. We are excited to be here and very pleased to have an opportunity to share what we're doing here at Ndscs.
And Bethany, thanks for giving us some of your time as well.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's start with you, Bethany. Explain what sponsorship coordinator means, what it does.
Sure. So we kind of joke around on campus that I'm the matchmaker, right? So I try to match students with employers, and it doesn't matter the region, but we really just focus on helping students with that affordability of college, and then helping employers, that might be experiencing like a workforce shortage, helping them gain those qualified employees that they need to help their business run.
Man, you've got to have a lot of people calling your phone.
Yeah, I'm the matchmaker, yeah.
Kim and April, in order to be able to do all of this, it's got to be affordable too. I mean, you have, this is my bias, ladies and gentlemen, but you have been great at bringing in the type of dollars that can provide scholarships to go along with getting those students here to match up. Are people still as generous as what they have been?
Joel, they are. They are extremely generous. And it goes back to the generosity comes because of their passion for Ndscs. And, you know, it is a blast to go out and visit with alumni and friends that are donors that have that memory of what was so important to them when they were here on campus. But also going out and being that workforce now. They've been in the workforce for many, many years, and they see how important it is that we continue that tradition. And so we want to continue the tradition with our donors, and they have been extremely generous over the last years. And we can't do it without them. We really, truly can't do it without our donors.
Bethany, how many of the students that come here, that knock on your door, already know where they're going?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I would say it really depends on the program. A lot of our programs, you know, Diesel, for example, they a lot of times absolutely know where they're going. But it's the other students that we're really trying to gain more experience or more communication with our sponsorship program. I know our pie in the sky goal is for every student to be sponsored on campus. So really expanding our program for all those other students that currently don't know about sponsorships.
Well, okay, so how many change? Because that's been a big part of our conversation about the workforce. Because there's a lot of people in high school level that, in my personal opinion, I'll show you my bias now, go to campuses they shouldn't be at yet. They need to be on campuses where they can build into that extra 2 years of college, per se. And then they find out where they really have their interests, where their education level takes them to. You know, I guess my point is, by the time they get to you and you're looking to sponsorships, how do we fix that? How do we make that work? Did I explain that very well?
No, I don't.
Okay, so somebody comes to you and they say, all right, I wanna be a doctor.
Okay.
I wanna be a lawyer. That isn't what this campus turns out.
Correct.
Okay?
Yep.
But yet they wanna come to science and they want sponsorship to do that. How do you make that work?
Yes, so actually sponsorship are designed for students to go directly into the workforce from Ndscs.
Okay.
So sponsorships specifically wouldn't work for those type of like liberal arts students.
Okay.
We don't have sponsorships for liberal arts. It's more of those, the students that go directly into the workforce.
And they are typically, Kim, not scholarship students?
But yes, so they're both. They are scholarship students.
Yes.
They're sponsored and they can receive scholarship as well. Back to your question on the liberal arts side of it, that's where the scholarship comes in. So a student wants to come to here and be affordable. Affordability is we can still probably come up with enough scholarship money to help them be affordable to move on into that four-year education. So not only will they come here and they can be sponsored, be in the program, get scholarship, move on, and go out into the workforce, they could also be that student that comes in and gets scholarship money, it's affordable, then they move on into their four-year degree where they'll have maybe some expenses there. But, there's students that come to school here that leave with no debt in their liberal arts and they're moving on because they have scholarship money.
See, and that's, when you ask a question completely the wrong way, you get a long pause. Like I just did. But I think you knew what I was building towards,
Yeah.
which is, how do we make that student that you're investing money in be what we need them to be, should be, or want to be at the adult level?
Right.
Which is really kind of what you two work on together.
Exactly. And we want these students to realize that there's opportunities no matter which way, but really look at your opportunity. We are very transparent here on campus. If you come to campus for a tour and you sit down, a tour, or you're registering and you're at that point, we sit down with the families and we'll say, this is what it's going to cost you for tools, for tuition, for room and board. Here's the final cost. But here's what you could receive in sponsorships, in scholarships, and even in workforce career builders, helping with career building. There's workforce out there that will pay for that, pay for your education. So when they come on campus, they're getting the true picture. When you go to some other campuses, I don't know that they're getting the true
Just want
picture. The first year you get so much in scholarship, but what about the other three?
Yeah.
So that's what we are very transparent in that.
Well, good. Bethany, you say you're the matchmaker. How big a role does personalities play in that?
It really depends on the company. What I'm hearing from employers say is how important it is for students to know about this program in high school. So I always encourage students when I meet with them to be proactive. If you know what you're going into already, if it's electrical, if it's HVAC, try to get in with a few of those companies that you know about, job shadow, intern, even before you come to Ndscs, so that that company, that employer can get to know you a little bit and make sure that that is a good match. So personality can play a lot into it. It really is just that match between the student and the employer, and if they match well.
But do you get them ready for that? Do you
Sure.
prep them?
So we definitely help prep them. We help explain to them why this is so beneficial for both students and employers, and help give them those talking points, provide them with a ton of resources in our career services department to help them prepare for that, because some of those can be really tough conversations, so we do our best to do that.
Right, and just because the student is really good at this doesn't mean they're really good at what we're doing right now. Matter of fact, they could ask a question so poorly that nobody even knows what the heck they're answering it. So, Kim, the money coming in, you mentioned earlier that people are still generous. There's always got to be new ways to knock on people's doors. I mean, you've been a master at that. I've been on this campus, for a number of fundraisers, but if you're not trying new things, you're not getting new money.
Yep. Well, one of the things, we have donors that come to us and say, here's an area, and here's an example. I get somebody that wants to help the nursing grow. We have a nursing shortage, without a doubt. How can I help that grow? Okay, so we sat down and figured out, what is it going to cost us on a campus to bring nursing, another whole section, onto this campus? This donor wants to look at ways to build and raise money for that. There's a matching program. We have the North Dakota State Challenge Grant, which has been phenomenal for us for the last 8 years. That's matching money from the state of North Dakota that we can actually help grow our endowment. Our endowment has continued to grow by donors. Donors keep adding to our endowment. In that endowment, the bigger, of course, our endowment gets, the more money we can give out. So there's always new ways to reach out to the donor, but what I always go back to is their passion. What were you passionate about? The recent donor I'm just talking about, his passion is nursing because of the medical need right now. Doesn't mean that's what he graduated from, but that's his passion. There's, we're trying new innovative ways to find ways to help these students make it affordable. Tools are expensive. We're trying to figure out how can we help students get money for tools. We're working on a project with that right now. So you're right. There's always ways that we're trying to help donors understand where their passion is, and when they're ready and when the time is right, come and see me and we'll talk about how you can donate.
I served on an advisory committee here back in my legislative days, and what I found out was how I think corporate America is too cold to describe them that way, about how local business that might seem like national business, but locally they understood how good your campus was. Mm-hmm. And they were on that advisory committee, and what I loved about it, Bethany, was how blunt they were. Yeah. They just said it. Yeah. I mean, these men and women didn't have time to, they just wanted to say it. They just wanted to say, look, this is what we're looking for. Tell me what I can do. Tell me how I can make this work. And I don't know if that makes your job easier, but I know it made my job as a legislator easier.
Yeah, no, I would say it definitely makes our job easier, because students are very much like that as well. Yes. Students know what they want. So that's a great partnership that we have with that.
Yeah. So, Kim, let's get into it. What do you got coming up? You always are, the Wildcats, have they lost a football game yet?
No,
you're going to hit these guys up at the football game.
Yeah.
Admit that.
Yep, nope, they haven't lost a football game, so they've got another game on Saturday, and then we go into playoffs, so we're pretty excited about that, yeah. And then we got...
That's her way of saying, ladies and gentlemen, that what she said, you're coming to our campus, you're an alumni, I'm going to talk to you.
I'll be around, I'm always somewhere, so...
But that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It is a good thing.
Good thing.
And that's what I enjoy the most about this is truly going back out and hearing the stories and really understanding, why people give. It truly is because of the heart, the passion, and what we have to offer. We're 119 years old. We have been, going down this path for a long time, and that tradition isn't going to change. And, we appreciate you. We appreciate being able to share that But, you know, Jane talked about the number of students that stay in North Dakota. Our alumni are in North Dakota and Minnesota and South Dakota, but 79% of our alumni are in North Dakota. Well, our heart is here, and that's where our fundraising is too.
Yeah. Someday, Bethany, we'll get a chance to talk about every aspect, all the tools you use. And my guess is, you know, there's been a lot of talk about Facebook. You can find out a lot about a student on Facebook. You can do your own recon, your own research. But see, this wasn't that painful, was it, ladies?
No, not at all.
Okay, well,
You're
thank
pretty
you.
easy to be around, Joel.
We grew up together. That's fine. We can tell stories.
No, we can't.
When we come back, we're going to talk about clay shooting. Imagine that. We're going to talk about clay shooting. In other words, I'm going to get really happy right after this. You know, I promised this. I promised that while we're on the campus of the North Dakota State College of Science, we're actually going to talk about trap shooting. We're going to talk about the passion that many people have, myself included, when it comes to trap shooting, but how here on the campus they actually have taken that to another level. Erin Johnson's our guest, and she's a student support coordinator with the Ndscs Clay Target head coach. So Erin, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Thank you.
And also Casey Kremke's with us as well, originally from Moorhead, right?
Yep.
And you shot a lot of trap in your life.
I have. Yep, started in 8th grade and all the way till now.
Now, we were talking before we went on air here about how you thought this was going to end after your time in Moorhead, that you were competitively shooting there, and then now you get down to college and you still get a chance to compete.
Yeah, that was something I'm super grateful for. I didn't think that was an opportunity I was going to get.
That's so cool. Erin, how does this work? What is the process? Because when you started it and the program started, you must have been concerned over whether or not there was a need or an interest.
Right. We know our students pretty well here, so I think we thought we would have the interest, but kind of going back to the history of how the Ndscs Clay Target team started, we had two champions that stand out for me. One is our Vice President of Student Affairs, Dr. Jane Vagness-Frisch, and Dr. Richmond, our President of Ndscs. Those two kind of came together trying to find opportunities for students to be involved and participate on our campus. We know that students who are active on campus, who are part of clubs, activities, they do better academically and socially both. So they really came to me with that request to see if I was interested in taking this on. I had been a head coach for a local high school team for several years, and so we started it. And I was told we're part of the Minnesota College Athletic Conference at CMCAC. It's the same conference that our football team participates in, and they are really one of the first college conferences in the nation. A lot of colleges have big interest in being part of a competitive clay target trap shooting team, but they just don't have the organization of that being available.
So what started it with you? I mean, what made you get to the point where you were head coach at the high school level, now you are at the college level?
I think just, like I said, Dr. Frisch kind of approached me to see if I'd be interested in offering that. I think she and Dr. Richmond had talked about this being an opportunity to get our student involved.
Had you competed
I
yourself?
actually did not start trap shooting until I was probably 29.
Okay.
And it was a mutual friend who got me interested, and I was addicted.
Is that right?
So clay target is what I do. I tell people I'm not even a hunter. Most of our students who are on the clay target team are hunters, Casey, and I would probably say 99%. But just got interested and helped with the high school team because they had need for extra coaches. I'm a firearm safety instructor also for the Minnesota DNR. So
you're the perfect
that's,
fit.
You know,
I mean, you
other
love
than
doing
that.
it,
Oh,
and you
love
know
it.
safety.
Yeah.
Okay, Casey, what made you start? What made you say, you know what, here at Moorhead, this is how I want to begin?
I've been hunting with my dad for as long as I can remember, and this was just another opportunity to get to go shoot with my friends and another extracurricular that I can get involved with.
Okay, so, you know, this is a sport that more and more, and I mean this as a compliment, you're seeing boys and girls compete at. I'm curious, as you went through all those years, is it 50-50? Is it, how many young women are competing at this?
Not yet. I wish it was 50-50. My first year in high school, I think I was the only female on our team. By the time I graduated, I think we had 2 or 3 others. I think this year we have 6 in total females on the team.
Okay,
Yeah,
so there is an interest out there, and
Yeah.
it's expanding.
it's getting there.
Okay, well, good. I mean, people like you are gonna take it there, so that's good. Is this just trap? Is this skeet? Is it?
Right now, it's only trap, but I believe that the MCAC named it clay target to be able to look at developing that into skeet, 5-stand, or even sporting plays
Okay.
in the future. I think as it takes off, they'll look at that.
Okay, so the one thing that I know about shooting trap myself a lot is that, you know, there's pressure that's involved in all that. So Casey, how do you deal with that?
Oh, sometimes not the best. I don't know, you just gotta keep a clear head and, you know, remind yourself that you're there to have a good time, and you're really only competing against yourself, which is one of the things that I love about the sport is, you know, you want to encourage the people around you, but really it's just you against yourself week after week and trying to improve yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it 25 out of 25 pretty common, or where are we at?
Oh, I wish.
You are so honest. I love it.
No, I've gotten a couple 24s, but not a 25 yet, but there's still hope.
Okay.
There's still a little bit of time.
You know, my experience after we shot league for years, but my experience now is basically going out to what we call turkey shoots, you know, where the white one comes out, and you know, if you miss that one, you know, the people next to you are going to tease you a lot, but it's so much fun. I mean, it's so much fun. And so, Aaron, I got to ask you, where do you find the shot? I mean, we can't find any. Right now, we want to go pheasant hunting. It's because we saved up the shot from last year. I mean, you can't. The stores are empty.
We depleted we were able to have a 2020 season, so we used what we had, and we were trying to wait to order until the spring high schools got through and not hoard it, because we didn't want to have a toilet paper situation where we were keeping it and somebody else could be using it. But when it came to the middle of July, and I usually would get our shells through a company that was looking less and less likely. So Dr. Richmond and Jane kind of helped us identify where we could get that. We needed 1,000 boxes of ammo for what we anticipated our team being. We have had the largest team for the MCAC conference. I think this is our 3rd season. Our first season we had 44. Last year we had 41, and this year we have 49. So we have.
Those are big numbers.
Those are big numbers, and with, you know, even the limited amount of time we have, we really go the first 8 weeks of the fall. It takes a lot of ammo to do that, and what we're coming against next week is our MCAC Championship. So we have 15 teams that are from Minnesota, North Dakota, and Wisconsin, and we'll get together and shoot face to face. So we have the same conditions. We'll be in Alexandria, Minnesota, and we'll be able to compete head to head with the other athletes in that competition. So it'll be fun, but we have, you know, even more need. We're going to have lots of ammo used there, and we got to go down and practice.
Well, do you reload?
Do that? No, they're
Okay.
not. We don't. They're not allowing
Not
that.
allowed?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Just so everybody's shooting standard, similar ammo.
if you want to do anything with those shell casings, I can help you out. with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot. They're all in the dumpster. So.
The bad part is you're going to get some calls now after this show.
Yeah.
Casey, when you go into a match like this, when you go competing head on head, you know, what goes through your mind? I mean, you're standing there, you know, Erin said athletes, and she's right. It's athleticism, it's physical skill, it's mental skill. I mean, she is spot on right in calling you and others who compete like this athletes, which is why I asked the question. You know, night before, morning up, what goes through your mind?
Just trying to keep the nerves down. I mean, it's something that I'm doing every week, and you know, it's nothing new, just a little more pressure, but you know, you just got to keep a level head and make sure that you're set when you're getting ready to shoot, and let all the worries go and just do what you're there to do.
You know how many people would be mad if I didn't ask you what you shoot? So what do you shoot?
Oh, I shoot my dad's old gun. It's a Remington 870.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That was the first shotgun I ever had. My dad bought me a Wingmaster, and I have to tell you, he bought, well, he's gone, so they can't prosecute him for this. But he won it in a World Series board that he and his buddies always had, and you know, he got 4 games right, meaning the final game, and it was a 4-game series. So he got a big check, went and bought me a shotgun. And I just, every time I see it, I think, in a way, I got that illegally. It made me, it made me feel just a little bit better. And so how do you must have to turn away some students, Erin. You must have.
So when we started 3 years ago, I was told I needed 5 students on my team and to even have a team. And I was pretty certain that we could do that, just knowing the local students that were coming here that might be interested in doing that. So I put out kind of a all call to students, hey, who's interested? And in an hour, I had like 30 responses. And by the next day, I had 50. And I started thinking, I have myself and one other coach. How are we going to make this work? And how do we give these students opportunities if they want to be part of an event on campus? So I had gone to the gun club. The head of the Red Gun Club is where we shoot. And they had a banquet, and I happened to,
Breckenridge side, right?
Yep, Breckenridge,
Okay.
Minnesota. It's just a couple miles from campus. And I had gone to their annual banquet, and I mentioned to someone that we were starting a team. They asked me to tell the group about it, and you know, said what the interest was. And right away, I had board members from the head of the Red Club who said, "Hey, we want to make this happen. Let us know how we can help." So we had board members that stepped up to help coach. The next day, I went to some of our opening sessions at Ndscs because it was right before college started, and I asked. I had some diesel instructors who said, "Hey, how's that coming? You know, we think we'll have students interested." And I said, "Yeah, we have a lot of students interested. I don't know what I'm going to do." And right then, I had like 5 other coaches who were stepping up. We have coaches that are electrical instructors, welding instructors, diesel instructors.
People love to shoot trap.
Yep, high school coaches, and like I said, the head of the Red board members that are helping.
See, Erin, I'd love to be part of it. You just wouldn't want me to teach. Once you saw me
We got
shoot.
lots of different skills that we can bring there.
You'd let me pick
Yes.
up shells.
Yes.
I mean, that's about as far as it would go. I have a nephew that does this at the high school level, you know, like you did, Casey, and he's all state, and he's a freshman, and you can't take the bounce out of his step. And he's an athlete, and he goes out and he enjoys that. He does hunt, you know, he goes out and uses that skill he developed, but you know, the night before a match, all he's doing is thinking about it. So what you're doing is important. It really is, and you made his life better, and obviously, Casey, you're enjoying it better. This is something you'll do all your life, isn't it?
I hope so, yeah.
When the white one comes out, hit it, so that your buddy and your best friend next to you doesn't look at you with that smirk and then he wins the turkey, okay? That's why they call it a turkey shoot. Thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll have some closing comments for you as we end our trip down the road. You know, ladies and gentlemen, this campus that we broadcast from today is yours. For those of you that are taxpayers in the great state of North Dakota, you own it. You own it. Your men and women, your young children, whatever, it's yours. You can bring them here and they can get one heck of an education. There's others like it. There is. Bismarck State College, Williston State, you got Lake Region, you've got all of these places that you can go to that are 2-year institutions that do a fabulous job. They do. And you know what? They're not appreciated enough. They're not. When it comes to the talk of colleges, of course, we go to NDSU and UND. One's got a great football team, the other's got a great hockey team. You know, it's the fun that can be had in relation to college that people focus on too much. We have a higher dropout rate in our college system than we should. And part of what we didn't talk about today, but we will talk about another day, is making sure that those great institutions that I just named, that the credits get from here to there. Because that's how the university system is supposed to work. And we need to focus on that. We do. As a state, we need to focus on it. I push for it as a legislator. I think there's areas we've improved. I think there's areas we still need to improve. And what that'll do is that'll let students feel more comfortable coming to places like this for those 2 years. Good ride with you folks.